How do I find the balance between being on the spiritual path and being part of Maya?
Part of Maya? That's what we're all doing. That's the spiritual path. I want to make sure that I understand. If you're asking in any way, and if you can clarify this with Sai Ganesh, please do. If you're saying, what's the balance between your spiritual path and work, or your spiritual path and your marriage, forgive me because there's probably a little Maya there, or your spiritual path and children's demands, or a sick parent, some life situation, that's a question that we're all asking often, and that can be answered. Maybe it's exactly the same answer in a way, even though the question was asked non-specifically. I don't mean that to be critical. It's a very good question. But everything that isn't God is Maya. So it's a big question. Let me say that. It covers a broad territory, because that's not hyperbole. If we're not one with God, everything else is Maya. So I'll say that, and then I will say each of us needs to find a balance between how we're living our lives in this world, jobs, marriages, children, parents, many other situations. And what I have found, and I have heard Swamiji say this in his own way, but he says it. The more that we can look for the divine in everything we do in life, the more we can tell ourselves that we are serving the divine in everything we do, that we are loving the divine aspect of everyone we love, that no matter what the situation is, it gets more difficult if you have a difficult boss. It gets more difficult if you have an alcoholic partner. I mean, I could go on and on, but it doesn't change the truth. It doesn't change the answer. We get closer and closer and closer to balance the more we not leave our spiritual path, but spiritualize everything in our lives. And that is how we balance, by bringing all of that more and more and more into what we know to be the truth. Then we get to the place where, whether we are looking at a problem child who's really been acting out, let's say, for years, and it gets very hard, even with your child, to stay in that calmness, that compassion, that loving wisdom, or a partner that you're having trouble with. These are very challenging situations, but the more we see God there, the more we practice that everywhere, the less difference there is. We don't then feel like we're living, Maya, Maya, Maya. Sit down and be quiet and still. We can't do that. Our spiritual life is 24/7, and we need to remember that. So the job is not to change what's out there. The job is still and always to change what's in us, what's in here, where our heart is, where our mind is, where our energy and consciousness are. And we just do it by continuously seeing God. Years and years ago, I was given a perfect, of course, and magnificent gift, though it took me a little moment to recognize that it was a gift. But we have to remember, whatever is given to us in life is the perfect gift. But I was told that every time I looked in my husband's eyes, I would see nothing but God looking back out at me. Every time. And it came to me like that. Nothing. That I would never see anything wrong with him again. Was that going to be easy? Really, think about it. But it helped me see, first of all, within 3 days, guess what? Our marriage was changing dramatically. He didn't change. He didn't even know that that had come to me. I had changed. And I saw how responsible I was for a lot of the negative, imbalanced energy. Me, here. And let me just think for a moment. I had another. Oh, it really helped me no, that wasn't just a message for Barry and I. That's true with everyone and everything in the world. Look at it and only see God looking back at you. You will find yourself in a progressively better and more uplifted state of balance.
So the person did clarify the question. So she said, because I've embraced the spiritual path, I feel separate from my family and those around me.
Yeah, that is, that's true. That's just in the world, only in the world, but in all of the ways that we've grown up as families, all of the ways that we used to share that felt so perfect to us. All of what we found fascinating and intriguing and funny. I mean, it is challenging. I used to be able to, I'm just using this as an example because I just did, but I could give you so many examples, not just mine, but from so many people who come and share their experience of that. But I used to be able to love so many things that my partner, my husband, would love doing. We used to watch comedy together because he grew up with comedy. He loves comedians. He knows everything about them. He's into every intricate detail, the timing, which is so important. And I used to constantly be in it with him, and I can't watch it now. We used to love music together. I can't listen to any of the music. I could go on and on. We change our vibration, everything changes. And there's just some of that. What we have, that's true. It's just simply the truth. We are not with them in the same way. We can love them. We can love them maybe even better as we embrace the path. Richer, deeper, less conditioned, all of that. You stay on this path, you really learn to love fully. It's beautiful. People feel it. They just feel loved in your presence. Strangers feel it. This is why strangers will suddenly do favors for you. They're in love, But sometimes we have to restructure the relationships. We have to, and we each have to do it our own way. There are ways to go and be with our loved ones. I just tell myself, whenever I go and visit most of my family, this is for them. This is completely for them. I go, I do the things they love doing. I go to the restaurants they love going to. I ask them, let's try and choose a quiet one, but otherwise, I'm always looking for where and how I can meet them. I don't ask them to meet me. I know they can't, and it would just set them up to feel badly and as if they failed. But, when I say, and this is true, that I don't want to listen to a lot of the music that we used to listen to, but I can still enjoy or be fine with listening to folk music, for instance. I grew up with that music. I grew up with those politics in a moment where, the age of Aquarius, it was all about love. So the music's not bad. It doesn't grab you by your first chakra and just swing you about. It's not like that. So I say to him, let's listen to a little, whoever, Pete Seeger, or watch a special on country music, because it's not offensive to me energetically. I'm constantly reaching out. There are ways to meet these people and to love them. Remember, what we're practicing, our path, this path, is about. Master even said, if you want to know God, you have to be able to love at least one person unconditionally. Why did he say that? One person. It's not easy. Let's practice that. Let's practice it everywhere. Then it's not us and them. It's how can I love them? Won't look the way it used to look. But if you make other positive suggestions, you'll find there are ways they will feel loved, and that's what they want. So try that.